I think for each individual, like I can't say a salary amount, but as we talk about where we live, inflation, this economy, we can't discuss something realistically. Like a mortgage is like average $4,000 a month now. Car payments are average $800 a month and up.
So you want him to pay all of that, and even though you all said you're making good money, you don't want to pay any of it?
The mortgage is a non-negotiable.
I mean, everybody has their preference, right? But as far as you wanting me to like pay your mortgage and pay for all your trips and do all that, I'm just not doing that.
Hey family, it's Angie and Nicola. Thanks for joining us for another episode of Boo Chronicles. What's love got to do with it? We are excited today because we have 7 ladies, hot, got it going on sisters, who are here to share with us their experiences on love and relationships. Today we have Mercedes. She's 29 years old and she's from Chicago. She's single. She has no kids. We have Jalen. She's 29 and she has been married for 1 year and she has no kids. We have Kayla. She's 29 from Clinton, Maryland, single and no kids. Whitney, 29 from Michigan. She's also single and no babies. We have Tay, 29 from Sterling, Virginia, single and no kids. Khadijah, 29 from Ashburn, Virginia. She's in a relationship. And lastly, Taylor. She's 28 from Alabama and she's also single. So as you know, this is a conversation on love, relationships, and everything that goes in between. So we're gonna jump right in, unless Nicola, you have any comments?
Let's get to it.
Let's go with Mercedes first. If you had to describe today's dating scene in one word, what would it be and why?
If I had to describe today's dating scene in one word, okay, let me back up because I feel like I haven't. So I'm newly single.
Okay.
In this past May. So for me, I haven't really been on a dating scene.
Okay.
But for what I've experienced thus far, for me to describe in one word, I felt as though it's a little hard. Because I haven't really been out there dating.
Okay.
So.
Do you want to toss that question to someone else? Is there someone else who wants to answer that question?
Let's do that.
Who wants to do that?
Just one word.
I'll give a word.
All right.
So I'll say for the dating scene, I'll say spontaneous.
Okay.
For sure.
Okay.
Because I think that you never know what you're going to get. So I've been single since February of 2022. So it's like I'm not new to dating again, but I was in like a long-term relationship, so like almost 4 years. So I will say like when I first started getting back into the dating scene, I was a little like, this is like all over the place. And I think that's what I mean by spontaneous. Like when it comes to like meeting people, you really never know what you're gonna get nowadays, and you never know what to expect from them. You never know like what guys have to offer like these days, because like the typical like base of what a man has to offer, like I feel like it's changed over the years. So yeah, that's what I would say.
Now my follow-up is, how has it changed? What was it then compared to what you think it is now?
So then as in like way back when my parents and grandparents moved.
It's just in your life. You said it's changed, so I don't know.
So I'll say like probably just from like, I'll say from my parents, seeing my parents, and like now, I just think that like it's not as traditional, and like roles of like women and men aren't as traditional. Roles of then like going from dating as boyfriend and girlfriend to husband and wife, it's different. Like it's not as traditional, and you know, I'm spiritual. I'm a Christian, so what I base my like, you know, what I want from a man, that has to go with, you know, my religion and what it says for me in the Bible and stuff. So like I think that now you don't really know like what you're gonna get, because also like Christianity has evolved. So even like if you date people that are Christians, like they're not always willing to offer exactly what you think, you know?
Okay.
Everybody agree with that?
Yeah.
Anybody have a different experience?
Spontaneity, spontaneous. That's the word. Okay.
So when you were talking, I was thinking about, you guys remember Jack in the Box?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like, you just never know what you're going to get, right?
Yeah. That's what I
Look,
meant.
Jack in the Box dating.
That's what I meant. And it could be really good. Like sometimes you meet people and they're like, you're like, wow, I didn't expect you to be like, you might meet them and they seem more reserved and like, you know, and then next thing you know, they pop out with this beautiful personality and they like to do, you know, fun things and you know, I'm not saying like it's always in a bad way, but
Okay.
Great. To follow up on that one, and anybody can take this one, what's required to date you and for you to have a relationship? What is required?
Well, I'm mighty
I
quiet. Okay.
I think I'll answer this question because my friends know, like, it's like when Kayla dating, there's like, she has a whole list of what's required. And I think over time, with me being single and dating, I realized that like some things could be superficial, and like what really matters isn't, you know, I guess things that are grand. So I would say like for me, and I think that this is for me, I think that, you know, outside of what's a quality, like things on the outside, like you had to have gone to college, you have to have a job, a career, things like that. But, you know, piggybacking what Taylor said, a requirement for me is that you're a Christian man. I would really prefer you have like a good relationship with your parents and a good foundation there. That, you know, you're emotionally intelligent and emotionally like aware of who you are, and like going to therapy is a big thing right now. That's a huge topic like for millennials.
So you want him to go to therapy?
Yeah,
Is that
I mean,
what you're saying?
if that's what you feel like you need to do, like I'm not
Okay.
gonna like force somebody, but you know, I think everyone can value from, you know, going to therapy. I've been, and I know a lot of people had. So I think, I mean, a man of God, that's a requirement. You have to have a job, a career, those are requirements. But on the inside, you have to be genuine, emotionally intelligent. And then a superficial one, you gotta be tall. Like, I'm a tall girl. So those are some of my things I would say.
Okay.
Anybody else?
Anybody else want to share?
No kids.
No kids?
No
Okay.
kids?
Okay.
I feel like what like Kayla is trying to say is like you basically need someone that's matching where she is in her
Okay.
life, because all the things that she named are also things about her. So it's not like she's naming things just like she's not emotionally intelligent. So I think it's, and what Whitney's saying, like no kids, she doesn't have kids. I think it's really important to find someone who's just on the same page as you and wants the same things as you and is on the same level as you in terms of education, in terms of emotional intelligence, because you want to be equally yoked.
I was just about to say,
Right, and I was thinking that when you were talking too, so, yeah.
Okay. Anyone else?
I think that I used to really want a degree, but I have a degree, but there's guys out here who have like great businesses, who are entrepreneurs who don't have degrees. I would say for me, financial stability is important. You need to have your own place, you need to have your own car. There are certain things I require, like I love nice dates, and nice dates aren't cheap. So that's something that's important to me, but also kind of just like your mindset. Like, what is your mindset? And I know I used to be like, oh my God, I want this type of guy, but like being with a guy who can give you everything financially and can buy you all of the bags and pay your rent and stuff. Like, I've been in that kind of relationship, and like he turned out to be a monster. So now my mindset is like, it's not so like, oh, like what can a guy do for me, but what can he do for my mental? Not really for like what's bought for me or what kind of dates he can take me on. It's like, what can he really do for my mental? Because there's people out here who might not be able to buy you every single bag, but you know what I mean, are really great guys. And there's guys who can buy you every single bag, but they will make your life like a living hell. And being that I've seen that and experienced that, it really has completely changed like what I require and like what I want out of a man. Because sometimes, you know, men think when they can buy you things that they own you.
Okay.
There's a cost.
There's a cost.
Yeah, it's
And
not
I had,
free.
I had to learn that cost, and it wasn't a fun lesson.
Anyone else?
I'll follow up with like on her comment with mindset. I feel like one of the biggest things I realized with dating is I need someone with a growth mindset, because even though you can meet someone and date them and it can be compatible for the moment, if you're not looking at yourself and doing inner work, like going to therapy or like willing to grow, the relationship can get very stagnant very quickly. So how much is that person set in their ways and how much are they willing to learn from someone and like learn how to love them in their own way. And I think that's important too.
Do you think at 29, 30-ish, men are set in their ways?
Some
I
people
think
are.
some are.
Yeah.
Wow.
Some women,
Not just men, women are too.
Some people are
Like, I think
shy.
that
Well,
what
to
you
go for
and like
Absolutely.
learning, not just like learning to grow, like you growing yourself, but like learning each other too.
Growing
like
together.
I think,
It's
and
a
growing,
whole
growing.
different thing.
And I feel like as you grow, like you become, you know, a better you, and some things about you are going to change. Like what you may like or have liked 5 years ago may not be what you like now. So, like if you're not willing to like learn that other person and continuously grow with them, then that's gonna be hard.
Yeah,
You know?
you'll hit a ceiling at some point.
It's even simple things, like I go on dates with guys and they have money and they're educated, but some of them won't put their napkin in their lap. And I'm sitting here like, we're at this really nice restaurant, why are you not putting your napkin in your lap? And like now, like the guy I'm with now, like he now puts his napkin in his lap. And it's like, okay, like he was willing to like understand like, hey, like I need to put my napkin in her lap. And then we went to an event together and like it was some of his friends there and like he's like, no one has their napkin in their lap. And I'm like, see, you're seeing things.
So you're willing to teach, so to speak, or
Yes.
to we'll call it
I think
guide,
some things.
inspire.
How much are you willing to teach?
So
I think that's my problem.
That's a
That's a
question.
great
That's a great question.
I don't want to. Like, I'm not, like, there's some things that I want you to know. And that may be, you know.
For example,
Some things aren't teachable.
Not
Like,
gonna
some
lie.
things aren't
Some
teachable
things are
because
teachable.
some things like stem from where you come from, how you were raised, like maybe what religion you come from, and
Your
if you
traits.
don't have it, then it's
Yeah.
at our age. I feel like it's hard to break people from certain things if you weren't like raised like that.
but so are you then willing to change or to?
I'm not personally, like when it comes to religion, I'm not. Like
Okay.
that's just my opinion.
Okay.
But like when it comes to like just when it comes to religion. But I think that like you know, like I think that everything's compromised too.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was
That's
just gonna
it.
say, like, if you really like someone and, you know, you've been doing, like, you have a certain habit, you have a certain way you're doing things, your routine and things like that, but it may be something that he introduces to you that you want to maybe incorporate or, you know, do differently. So I think, like, if you really like someone, you will hit that point of, I'll change a little bit of this because I
So
see
you're open
it
to
will,
it. You're open then.
I see it will benefit me
It's like
and us.
Like
Yeah.
him, he benefited from. He was like, okay, like this is mannerable. This is, you know,
Right.
he was like, this is a
Like
good
the rooms he's trying to be
habit.
in, they're gonna look at you crazy because why is your napkin
This
on
is a
here?
good habit. Exactly. So he was like, okay.
I
need
will
to
if you
clean
see it
this
as like a
little bit.
benefit thing. Like I'll do it if it's a benefit for me and then us in return. You know, not just gonna do it because you feel as though this is the right way or you think that you should be doing something.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. We touched on this a little bit. We went through a whole lot in one or two questions, but research suggests that women in your generation are earning higher and advanced degrees and making more money than millennial men. Do you think this changes the dynamics of relationships, and how so? Y'all are shaking your head. Somebody got to say something?
I absolutely think it changes the dynamic just in the sense that women aren't showing up to the table looking for, since we have a sense of independence already, and there's other reasons I can go into for that reason, but I think we're looking for someone that can bring a lot more. So for example, you can't just come with money. You have to be emotionally intelligent. You have to, because I can take care of myself, pay my own bills, so you can't just come in my life and take away from what I have going on. So I think there's a sense of what are you bringing to the table from our standpoint, more so than guys, if that makes sense.
Yes, but I'm not sure. You're saying that they have to come with something more than money if you guys have more money?
Yeah, like
Okay.
we make our own money, so what else are you bringing? Are you making my life easier in any way? Are you taking anything off my plate that I have to deal with myself? Like, how are you coming into my life and showing up? I feel like we're looking at that more so because it's not as traditional where we're not working. We have careers, we have our own houses, so we don't really need men in our life as much, I feel like, as older generations did, so the conversation just looks a little different.
Okay.
I
So,
think as far as like dynamic, like relationship dynamic, if a woman is making more than a man, I think it really depends on the man and how the woman treats the man, knowing that she makes more money than him. I think a lot of men, some men don't like it. Some men, it's like an ego thing. And then there are some women who feel as though they have to make it known that they make more money than the man. So I think it depends on the person, honestly.
So this leads to a follow-up that I have about that. So how important are finances when you're qualifying your mates?
Extremely
I
important.
think it's
Very
very important.
important.
It's very important.
Does potential count?
Yes, in a way.
And would you be willing to marry a man or partner? Okay, well, let's talk about it. Let's answer the first part of the question. So the first part was how important are finances? And
Very
you all-
important.
They're very
Extremely
important.
So everybody
So we can all
agrees?
agree.
It's a factor.
Up here.
They're very important.
So they have to have a certain amount of money, like 6 figures? Can they make 25,000, 50?
You need to be stable, and whatever that looks like in with who you're with, that's what it is.
Well, stability
I feel like
is
for
relative.
I think something you know what I'm saying? I can't say what's stable is
That's
for
about
me.
the
I
point.
can't
That's
say
about the
that
point.
what's financially stable for me to take care of me.
So
You
let's
being
look
the
at
man-
you. Let's
being
look
the
at
man
you.
Provider for me may not be what Mercedes.
Oh, that's fine. So let's look at you.
You-
Roughly. I'm not trying to put you on the spot. Maybe I am.
Completely on the spot.
But if a man makes $50,000, are you interested?
No.
No.
Is that a universal no?
Okay, so you have to think about
Hang on, one at a time.
Yeah, it depends on where you're living. So we live, if we're talking about me, now I live in Alexandria.
Okay.
That's the DMV, so no, basically.
But I thought you just told me that you all got your money. You all make your money. You got plenty of money. You can buy what you want.
We said it was important. We said that.
I think that
And I think it's from, okay, so looking for the perspective is that the man is the provider. Is that what we're looking at?
And protector.
And protector. Because I said I was religious and that's what I came from. So that's where I came from, that's what I learned, that's what I apply. So when I'm looking for a man, I want to provide a protector.
Okay.
You know, women, we want to be secure in 3 ways. Security in like financially, emotionally, and like security is in like if somebody walks in and wants to shoot, are you gonna stand in front of your So like in that way, like being a provider, I mean, like if you can provide what you can, but at the same time, like she was saying, I mean, I'm from Alabama, so it's way cheaper than here.
So we're in the
Way
DMV.
cheaper.
So what's
it's still not a lot.
what is that in the DMV?
I
What does
think-
that translate to?
I think a piece of it, I don't even know if it's actually like, because between people it's going to be different. I think when you're talking about a dating relationship, it's different than a marriage. When you think about, at least when I think about marriage, I think about a man who he's paying the bills in its entirety, 100%. He's paying the mortgage. He's paying for the cars. If we want to do something, he is the person that is in charge of the finances as it relates to like savings and investments. He is the head as it relates to what our family planning is going to look like. That's something that's very important. So I think for each individual, like I can't say a salary amount, but as we talk about where we live, inflation, this economy, we can't discuss something realistically, like
Okay.
a mortgage is like average $4,000 a month now. Car payments are average $800 a month and up.
So you want him to pay all of that, and even though you all
I'm
said
not
you're
saying-
making good money,
The
you don't want to
mortgage
pay any
is-
of it?
The mortgage is a non-negotiable.
So wait, from a marriage standpoint.
From a
right?
marriage standpoint.
Yeah,
From a
because
marriage
what are we
standpoint,
talking
for
about?
sure.
But you gotta get there.
Right.
But you're not talking
But if you're talking about dating, I think you're talking about dating.
But you're not buying a mortgage when you're dating.
I
They
think
don't
if
have
you're talking about dating, it's more of that like potential piece. Like you can see he has
No,
a
some people have
vision.
mortgages when they're dating.
Yeah, like
Some people we have.
or it's not meaning that
we're
way.
paying-
Like,
people are
it's
buying
like-
houses and
Aside
stuff,
from mortgage
yeah.
and stuff, like I'm not relying on a man or wanting a man to pay for my rent or car payments or anything like that.
Yeah, that's
so
different.
From a dating standpoint, what are we doing? Like going to dinner, we may travel a little bit, so that
Like
comes with
get
an expense. So
And that's on
you're
him
not-
if you're dating.
Yeah, I don't think it's 100% on him. I just
I
have
think it
different
depends.
views on that.
Yeah.
Even in marriage, I have a different view on that. But
What's
I'm
share your view?
I'm not relying. I don't think. Okay, so from a marriage standpoint, where I am looking at is if you want to present yourself as a man, head of household, I need to see leadership qualities, and financial stability. But you know, it's just the independency in me and how I grew up with a lot of independent women. I'm not the person like, well, oh, my man is going to take care of everything financially. No, I don't view that. I can help if we have, like, you know, I'm not, no, he's going to be head of household. Yes, he's going to make his money. Yes, but I can help. Why not?
I think that's an important piece of the financial stability because, I mean, I would like to throw out a caveat of what if we meet a man that is working in his purpose or his passion and his job, the passionate job or the passion he has isn't a job that's going to be super lucrative. Like, you're going to make good money, but you may not make, you know, the money to pay my mortgage or pay the mortgage and the cars and the trips. But like, this is your passion and this is your purpose. And I, you know, at first I was just like, you know, the money is the financial is most important, but I think it's your mindset because if you can steward over the money that you do have, that money is going to come, you know, us together, married, you know, God's going to bless us tenfold, whatever we're going to want. So I feel as if it's the mindset and not the dollar amount.
But like 50,000 though?
No. You got a dollar amount has a factor. Your dollar amount is there.
Meet me.
Well, what I
feel like
saying,
you know, it's like you know when you know.
Yeah,
That's how it is. Like, it's like a
similar to that. I feel like when you go into a relationship, you have to be prepared for the unknown. So say something happens to me and my paycheck is out the question. Say I get injured or whatever happens. Do you make enough to sustain our lifestyle? I don't think it's necessarily on the man or the woman.
So this is dating or this is marriage?
This is just this is more marriage, I guess you'd say. But dating in general, if you live with a partner and say someone loses their job, like, or something unexpected happens, like, can you handle the rent by yourself? That's something you should take into account. If I can handle it by myself, but you can't, and the job is all on me, but something happens to me, then what? You know, like, I feel like you can only go off potential so much until where it's like where reality kicks in and bills are due and we're homeless or we're not. So
I think also defining dating, relationship, marriage.
Yeah.
Dating is one thing, relationship is another, and then marriage is top tier.
So how do you determine relationship from dating?
We're together.
when you ask.
Exclusively.
We're exclusively committed.
Exclusive.
We're together.
Accountable.
Dating, we're having fun, maybe potentially getting to that point.
Okay.
Building.
Building.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll say this. I feel like as a woman and the way like my mom and my dad were, like, even like for my dad's birthday dinners, my mom would try to pay the bill, but my dad was like, no, I'm paying. So like even if it was his birthday, he would still be like, no, I'm paying. He is the head of the household. So to me, it's super important for a man to be the head of the household. But also, like, even if you are doing something that is your passion, I think I like a man who has multiple streams of income and multiple ideas, just not set in one career. So there's multiple types of money coming in. But I'll say this, while I'm dating you, any dates, any trips, I expect him to pay. That's just how
I want to go back to potential.
I was raised.
I want to go back to potential because that's a good thing to talk about.
So
Let's talk about
We'll
it.
get back to that one. But I want to.
Potential.
We'll get back to that one because I think everybody has something to say about that one. But I want to spend a little bit of time on this dating and whether everybody thinks the same way. Does everybody have to? For all of you all, does everybody?
I'm not paying.
They need to pay.
Well, I think normally, unless it's like something special, that a girl is like, for me, it's like, okay, maybe I'll just treat this time.
Yeah.
Or like, it is your birthday, like,
Yeah,
I will do
exactly.
this.
Like, you're not gonna pay
Or-
for your birthday.
right,
Your
or there's
wedding.
something going on, like, you just got promoted, or we're celebrating you, or you're going through a hard time right now, let me cheer you up and take you out or something. I think sometimes as it relates to, but it's like my birthday trip, if you're taking me on vacation for like my birthday, no, I don't feel like I should be paying. But again, too, when it's your birthday, like, I get you gifts, I think it's reciprocal. But I do think that the majority of the dates from like time to time, like the man majority takes care of that.
And everybody feels that way.
Yes.
Well,
I'm a good gift
I mean,
giver, so.
I've come across guys who'll be like, no, I got it, but I got this, I got you. Like, yeah, you know, if we're going on a trip or something, oh, you grab the hotel, I can grab the
I was
flight.
just gonna say the
We
same
can,
thing.
like, you know, go to a restaurant. I'm not expecting you to pay each time. Like, let me do for you. Like, you know, you probably want to save a coin. Just, you know, like, I'm not expecting you to pay for everything.
I can pay for
So-
Chipotle. I
So
wanna-
here-
Chipotle, say favorite Chipotle.
here's my question.
When he comes over to my house and like he pays for dinner and everything, but when he comes over to my house and we're ordering food, of course I have the Uber Eats app. I'm not gonna be like, oh babe, like send me money for our Uber Eats or whatever. Like I'm not doing that. Like that doesn't make sense. I'm gonna pay for it. So I do pay for things, but of course, like if we're going to dinner at Felipe Chow, like he's paying. We're all our dates and
So I got a question. Is Cheesecake Factory a bad date?
Oh, that's
She was tripping. She was tripping.
When
She was tripping. That was
So
weird.
you're all okay with first date Cheesecake Factory?
And I'm definitely not recording.
Yeah.
I do have that's recording.
That was
That's
really, really whack. But a guy can see. Like, it's so crazy because yesterday a guy said to me in my messages, Kay loves the seafood tower. And like I do, whenever I go to nice restaurants where they have a seafood tower, the seafood tower, I'm getting it, it's anywhere from 125 plus depending on where you go, just for the appetizer. But as a guy, you know, based on where you see a girl go, where you see her go with her friends, what she's posting, you know what kind of restaurant she likes. So I wouldn't be mad if you take me to Cheesecake Factory. I don't really like Cheesecake Factory, but if you took me to Red Lobster, on the first date I might be like, really? But like on the second, third date, like right now, if my man was like, let's go to Red Lobster, let's go to Texas Roadhouse, I'm down. Because we've already done the nice dates. He's already, you know what I mean, kind of started off on a...
So you want the powerful show in the beginning?
It's not even a powerful show. But
Like just something like that.
But what if he can't keep it up? What if he's been all saved all his
But
money?
I think that you can have like a more of aesthetically pleasing place that maybe have the same prices as Cheesecake Factory. It just looks a little
I don't think it's the
like even like something like Coffee Cuisine, like
Yeah.
even, like that's a restaurant, it's black owned.
I think
Or
Coffee
something like
Cuisine and
that.
Cheesecake Factory
It's
is
the
right
same.
here.
It's right.
I don't think it's the
Sometimes
price
like-
point as much as the lack of like creativity.
It's the effort.
because the quality, it's really the,
So,
I think
that-
she was with the quality of Cheesecake Factory has gone down over the years. It's places like Applebee's, Chili's, like, you know what I'm saying? Like those places
But
like
Cheesecake
way back when.
Factory, Cheesecake Factory, just for those who might be looking at any potential lawsuits, is a wonderful restaurant.
Also, but in that specific scenario, that girl was late to their date, and he had an actual expensive restaurant that was planning his reservation. So then he took her there, and she was acting a fool.
That was just disgusting.
Like,
I think
yeah.
any man who's willing to take you out, pick you up, and spend your money wherever he takes you to, you act kind, you act great.
Right. Like, if you want to go out after,
If you want to call your friends after and be like, girl, he took me to Cheesecake Factory, what do you, like, well, I don't know about this. But like, while you're there in someone's presence to record that,
Yeah,
that's just like,
that's
so, that was
corny.
just disgusting. I was like,
Corny.
very unimpressed.
That is corny.
And her lipstick was very, very outdated.
Yeah, like she was
It was
cute.
definitely
It wasn't cute. That's what I mean. Kimmy was short.
Then she was upset when he was like, "Yeah, I'm taking you home," because it's like she was shocked. But it's like you can't treat people with disrespect. If you don't want to continuously be with someone or entertain something, that's perfectly fine. You're entitled to your opinion, but you still should be respectful.
So
We agree.
Effort.
We agree. The next one. Are you ready for forever? Why or why not?
well, we have one.
I was gonna say
Yeah,
I'm married, so
Yeah.
for me.
Jalen,
Yeah.
start with
So
you.
can you tell us, before everybody else answers, how did you know?
Okay, so I want to talk on what Taylor was saying a little bit, because when she was talking about potential, and so me and my husband started dating when we were 20 and 21. He's 20, he was 20 and I was 21. Now we're 28, 29. So I knew from our first couple of conversations, even though he was 20, that he would, he had the potential to become like a provider, like all of the things that we're saying here. So like I'm just sitting here thinking like, yeah, even though we were so young, I just knew that even though I'm graduating college first and I'm gonna start working in my career first and I'm gonna have like a salary before he does, I still knew that at some point it would completely flip and you know, he would be taking care of me and like doing all those things. So I think that was really important for me. It like sitting here listening to everyone, I was like, I've never been single in my upper 20s, like, you know, so it's just like I could not imagine like dating right now. It seems hard.
Yeah.
But I do agree that if I was single, I like at this point in my life I would want someone probably making more than me. Like I would probably agree with everything that
And I think you make a really good point, Jalen, too, like the ages. I feel like that makes a huge difference because when you are just starting out, even older than 20 and 21, but you're 23, you're 24, men and women are still trying to figure things out, whether they're going to grad school or professional schools, they're starting in their careers. So yes, like for most professions, even if you do have a salary, you're not making six figures. Even in somewhere like DC, Maryland, Virginia, you just aren't. So that's something different. But as we talk about, like, we are towards our 30s, and that's really the decade of establishing, and that's when most people are starting families and they are looking to forever. I think that changes where you think the potential, because you've had that time to build on that potential, as Jalen was saying. So, like, yeah, for sure, if I was dating someone when I was 20, 21, 22, I wasn't thinking, oh, you gotta take me to Dubai. Like, that was never a thought. Or
But
you
you want
need
to
to
know
take
something
me
though,
here.
even though we were so young, I always had birthday gifts, always had Christmas. Like, they're like, if you really like someone, I feel like the effort will show, the like just how you feel, and if you really care, like you will make it happen. And that's why I love my husband, because he has always. We were so young, and never.
Go ahead, give him a shout out. Give a shout out to him.
Oh, hi, babe. His name's Jared.
Anybody else?
Yeah, he's a
on
doctor
forever?
now.
Period.
He graduated from med school last May. So, yeah.
Congratulations to you. Anybody else on
I
forever?
was gonna say, like, just like piggybacking off of Whitney with like the potential thing and like the ages and stuff. Like, I think that it's important. So I went to this women's event with Union Church this past Friday, and something that was important because they were talking about like potential on their panel. They were saying that patterns. If you like, when it comes to men, like, you have to look at like what's their pattern. Like, are they a hustler? Are they like, are they doing what they say what they say they're going to do? Like, if they say they're going to go back to school to get this, that, and the third, or if they say they're going to, open this business or further themselves with a certification or whatever, are they doing it? Is this a pattern of they're saying they're going to do it and they're not doing it? Or they say they're going to do something for you and they're not doing it? They say they're going to take you out and then they're not doing it? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's important.
That's called the show me state.
So you got to be careful with that potential.
Not ready for forever, though. That's the question.
Are you ready for forever?
Ready for forever.
Are you ready for
How
forever?
do you know when you're
I
ready
was like,
for
you got
forever?
some feelings about that.
Mercedes.
No, just everyone else.
It was, how do you know when you're ready for forever?
Well,
Or
just
are you
if you are.
Are
If
you
you
ready?
are.
Okay.
How do you know? Well, how did you know you were? Well, would you say like
We were together for so long, and I think we kind of got lucky with, like, we grew a lot together, and so we had a lot of conversations also. Like, I think after maybe like 3 years, we were like, we would get married. Like, we were to that point where we were like, we don't want to date anyone else. We know we don't want to break up. Like, so I think we just communicated a lot. Like, I think we just talked through it. I don't think it was like one moment where it was like, I know I'm ready. It was just like, over time, we talked about marriage and what that looks like in terms of financial stability, in terms of kids, like, and we were always on the same page. So, yeah.
Anybody else?
I think I wasn't ready in 2021, and really not in 2022. I was outside, I wanted to be out, I wanted to be mixy, I was having so much fun. But now I think that, like, I'm about to hit 30, and, like, I don't know if, like, something, like, in 29 has happened that I'm like, oh my god, I need a husband, like, I want a husband, like, I really feel like right now, like, I'm really looking for, like, my soulmate, and, like, some of the things that I used to require physically from a soulmate have changed. And that's when I'm like, okay, like, things don't have to be as transactional as what you can do for me, and, like, my mindset has changed, and that's when I was like, oh wow, like, I really think I'm maturing. I really think that, like, I'm, like, ready to be someone's wife. And then on top of it, like, you know what I mean, you see people around you having babies, like my brothers now. Also, I think outside factors, like, both of my brothers in 2022 and 2023 both got married. So now I'm the only sibling who's not married. And then my youngest brother just had his first baby. Love her to death.
but it's like, okay, like, you kind of start to feel like a little bit
Yeah.
of pressure and a little bit behind. And then I can also see like my mom, like of course, like when your son has kids, and like it's a little bit different than when your daughter has a child, because the control that you can have over your daughter having a child versus your son having a child. So I can feel her starting to like, okay. Every guy, she's like, do you see yourself marrying him? Like every like single person I bring to her, she's like, do you see yourself marrying him? So I think that pressure is there. And then
Internal
also,
too, right?
Internal, and then you see the TikToks, your biological clock. It's like a lot. Like it's coming from your family. It's coming from. But my mom was like, she did told me all through my 20s, I don't want you to get married young. I don't want you to get married young. And now I'm 30, and it's like, why aren't you married? Just being transparent. Like it's like, why aren't you married? So I feel like I don't want to move too fast and pick the wrong person, because I do want it to be for forever. But I do feel like I'm now more so like I'm like not in the club anymore. Like I'm kind of like, even now, like some of the things I post, like I just like try to move like a little bit differently, more in the mindset of someone who would want a wife versus someone who wants somebody for fun and having fun.
So you're more intentional about
Yes.
Yeah. So on that, I have a question. I heard you say already, physical appearance. You've augmented your standard, so to speak. Correct?
Mm-hmm.
What are your thoughts on interracial dating?
No for me.
Okay.
I won't let them finish the question. How do you really feel about it? And so your thoughts on interracial dating, and then your thoughts on men who date interracial.
I just. Oh, can I? I have a brother in an interracial relationship, and I grew up in Loudoun County, a very privileged area, around a ton of white people. I will say this: there's a difference. There's a difference between a black man who has been around white people his entire life, grew up with white girls. My sister-in-law, I've known her since they were freshmen. She's been in love with my brother. They met as freshmen in high school. Nobody had any money. It wasn't you have to offer. But I think it's a little bit different when you come into.
But wait, I don't know who's white or who's not.
So my brother is black.
Okay.
My sister-in-law is white.
Okay.
And so I think there's a difference when you have people who grow up in areas that are predominantly white, where they have white friends. In my brother's wedding, there were black groomsmen, there were white groomsmen. They met their freshman year. They were high school sweethearts. Like he's dated other races. He's not opposed to dating black women. It's just his high school sweetheart happens to be white. Versus the athletes who are coming from all black environments, didn't grow up around any white people, and all of a sudden you get a white girl, you have money now, and now you want to date white people. I think that's a complete difference versus being around Caucasian people, white people, whatever you want to call it, different races your whole life, or growing up around all black people, all you dated is black women, and now you have money and you feel like you're too good.
I think we hit a little nerve there.
Yes.
It is a little nerve because you know what I mean. I feel like I have to like not defend my brother, but it's advocate for my brother, because it's not that he doesn't like black women. It's not that he's never dated black women. It just happens to be that the girl he met his freshman year in high school in class together, I think it was a science class, because at their engagement party the teacher was there, and she told me, she said she was going to marry her brother. And Sydney is great.
All right.
You know what I mean? And like I feel like the way she speaks and the way she talks now that she has a black daughter, and the way she comes to us saying, hey, I have a black child, and realizing that she's raising a black woman as a white woman, and her mindset on it, and being open to everything, and understanding her privilege and the privilege that her daughter may not have, and also understanding, like, you know what I mean? She's the privilege that comes with her daughter being light-skinned, and kind of educating her on all the things is different. And the way my brother's like not like only dating white girls. You know what I mean? It's just what he grew up around. It was
Okay. I don't want to cut you off, but we're gonna ask some other folks here. You made a very strong no. So tell me why.
So, I grew up in PG County.
Okay.
I went to Catholic school. So it's not that I grew up around black people only.
I went to Catholic too.
I went to high school with
But
white people.
but interracial is not just black and white. So
Right,
it's
also
just-
like Asian people, African people, because now African people are very much, I'm African, I'm not black. That's what's going on now. And I just think that like, I want a strong black family.
Okay.
I grew up in Jack and Jill, strong black family. My mom, we're Black Greek organizations, strong. That's what I see, and that's what I desire. Go to a black church. I don't want to have to explain. Like, I just don't want that. Not doesn't have to be friction, but I just don't want to have that part of me that I'm gonna have to explain why I'm wearing a bonnet or why my daughter or my son can't do certain things. I know that's a little funny, but like seriously, like I'd rather go to my in-laws' house and have the same type of community that I had with me. Or like, I just don't.
You don't want
that.
your son to have to do a bar mitzvah?
I mean, that can't happen because I'm not going to marry a man that's not Christian. But you know, and I don't want to have to think about like, okay, my son or my husband is Catholic and I'm Pentecostal. What are we going to do?
Okay.
Like, so I
Anybody else?
I think that piggybacking off of Kayla, that I don't know, like I think that even saying like I know a lot of black girls can say like we want the black love, but even like thinking in another perspective, like I think it's harder for black girls. Like do other like races even like us like that? You know what I'm saying? Like I think that our counterparts or other races, like they have, you know, they have a advantage when it comes to other races even liking them. Because you were saying it's not just black and white, even like Asians and Hispanics and other races. It's just like they have an advantage. Like we have to a lot of times conform to these looks and how we have our hair and, you know, do we wear makeup, do we not, are we light skinned, are we dark skinned, like we have to conform to these whatever they want
That's
from
a whole
us.
show. That's
Yeah,
a whole show.
like,
Right.
and it's just like it's harder for us like today. So I don't fault Kayla for wanting like no, I'm strictly only black love, because it's like sometimes she thinks, you know, that's the only thing that understands us.
Have
and
any
that
of you
will
ever dated?
accept us.
Have any of you ever dated outside of your race?
I have.
Yeah, and I'm open. I'm open to diversity. I think at this point now I am.
I'm open too, but I understand still why. Like I'm definitely pro black love, but I am open to other races. But I am for
when
sure.
you say other races, like for example,
like Asian, or I mean, I'm not opposed to Caucasians, but I just think that
this Kelsey like 2020.
yes, that's my man. That's my man. But he also fumbled a beautiful black queen. So
a lot of factors.
Yes, he did.
Yeah, that's a
yes, he
really
did.
conversation.
so try not too much.
So if you met
aesthetic.
do you have, so you guys have strong opinions on, you know, whether you would date a black, some of you would date interracially. What do you think about guys do you have any kind of issue with guys who date or have dated outside of the race and then they date black? Or you're okay with it?
I don't mind as long as your mindset. If you're like, oh my god, I want her light skin, I love white girls, they don't complain. If you're like ignorant like that, then no, I don't want to date you. But if you're like, hey, I like what I like, I'm attracted to her, and I'm open to dating everyone. But it's like, if you're like, I only want light skin, I only want Spanish, I only date Latinas, like that to me is very ignorant because your mom is not Latina. So like,
She's good enough to raise you right.
yeah, it's like you love your mom, you love your
Right.
sister, you love your aunt, you love your cousins. We're going to bat for them. They are not
Even
Latina.
like a
They are not light skinned.
black man who was like, for example, maybe a white man that's like, I only like black women. It's like, okay, like, why? You know what I mean? Like, let's dig into that. Like, don't fetishize black women, because I have a problem with that as well.
That's
Okay.
So I think it's such a deeper conversation, because there can also be so many factors. Maybe a black woman was hurt by too many black men, and therefore she chooses. So there are so many different
So that was in the
things that we can go down with this. But
T.O., did you guys see that?
I
Terrell
did
Owens?
see
No,
what
what
he said,
happened?
but
Was
that
talking
was
about it.
weird.
Yeah, he only dates white women now because black women
because of
rejected him.
But I
when
think
he was
that's,
but I
younger.
don't believe
I
that,
don't believe
though.
that either. I don't believe that
I don't
either,
either.
because also too, just like following and like knowing who he is, you think about he's from Mississippi, so he's from the deep South, and people from the South normally no matter what color or creed you are, you stay within your own race. He's not an unattractive man by the slightest. I know there's probably thousands of black women who want to be with him, who would cherish him, and all those things too. I think that sometimes people like to make excuses because that sounds better. You don't have to defend it. It's like, oh,
Right.
no black woman wanted me. I remember even like on his reality show, it was a whole thing when like his like manager or publicist kind of like liked him, and she was black too. There's so many people who would want to be with someone like him, and I think that's the thing. It's like whatever your preferences, because we have preferences. Maybe that's not within race, but we've talked about preferences within looks, finances, etc. But that doesn't come from self-hate.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And I think that is an issue. I think that sometimes as it relates to love, like maybe if you come across someone and they're so like just intoxicating that sometimes you can't pick who it is that you have a connection with, and sometimes it's the circumstances. I think like how Kayla was saying is that I think it's hard for us to get into the even environment to be around different races that we would relate to on a very like intimate social level, because we went to black schools. Now we live in a city where there's a lot of black people, the community, we're in black social organizations, and I think people build a community with the people who they see and they know. And that's professional, that's personal, and that, evolves into people who, you fall in love with and who you date too. Like, even with dating, some people are like, oh, they follow me on Instagram, let me see who I know who knows them and get the 411 on them. We just don't have that network of, hundreds of different, like, races and ethnicities. That's just not what we have. So then sometimes you see, like how Kay was saying, certain people, like these other like ball players who've come from those predominantly black, communities where it was the black woman, whether that's their mom or girlfriend in high school, whomever, when they were drafted or just whatever, that was supportive, and then they turned their backs on them for whatever reason. So I think that's where that comes from. But just generally, I don't really mind about preference, because I have my own preferences as well.
Okay.
I'll say one more thing, and then this is the last thing.
Okay.
Is that I think that some of them need to understand, especially men in power, men with money, that their families and even athletes, the girls that you're getting now, even if you grew up wherever you grew up, the girls that you're getting now, if you weren't who you were, they probably wouldn't date you. A lot, and I'm just being transparent. If those athletes weren't who they were, if they weren't those basketball players, her dad is not really gonna like you. You know what I mean? Respectfully. Like, I'm just being transparent.
Okay.
I don't think that, and I don't know if anyone agrees with me, but I don't think that the white girls, the Latin girls who date some of the athletes, not all of them, but some of them would not date you if you were not who you were.
Yeah, if you were Joe Johnson,
It's like they're all of a sudden insta-fine, where'd that happen,
Yeah.
I think cultural competence is a big thing too.
Sure.
Because I think that like when it comes to like experiencing different cultures and stuff and different religions and this, that, and the third, like it also has to do with like how open you are with your mind and like are you willing to like get to know that person and their culture and their background and like what their family does and their traditions and stuff, and it's okay for us to do it, but for you it's not. And that's what when you decide that you want to love me for me and what I come with, that's what you decided to sign up for.
All right.
And
now, I don't want to cut you off. We're running out of time. I got one question that I want a 1 or 2 sentence answer from whoever wants, because then we're gonna do a little switcheroo. They say that when women are from Mars and men are from Venus. Well, we're gonna bring the Martians and the Venus people together with a couple gentlemen. But here's the last question for this segment. What's the single most important thing you'd like men to know in general about women who are looking for love? Just quick, brief answers.
Black women or just women?
Just women, you guys.
We want to be wanted.
Okay.
We want effort.
Okay.
We want to feel beautiful.
I would say love. And you said just like a phrase, right?
Or just
I would say that for women who actually are looking for love, that it's okay to be like honest and vulnerable, and it's not like a competition.
Okay.
And women aren't against men.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I would say be your most genuine and vulnerable self.
Because if we like you and we love you, we're going to accept you for you.
Okay.
Oh, I was gonna say similar to being authentic, like just be yourself, so that way you can really see if it's compatible or not.
Okay.
I say be an active listener. Just be an active listener, be proactive, and have patience.
Okay.
It's not as hard as you think it is.
Okay.
I think it's not as hard. We're not as difficult creatures as people make us out to be. We're complicated, you know what I mean?
Okay.
We think a little bit differently. Our minds are, you know, I like to think that women are smarter than men. I think
Okay.
the way we move, not that I just think we are, the way we move, the way we carry ourselves, I genuinely think that women are smarter than men.
Okay.
But-
Wait. Remember, just a couple sentences.
I'm so sorry. I'll leave it at that.
Taylor?
We'll leave it at that.
Taylor?
Oh, I already did mine.
You did yours already?
I
Okay.
said we want to be
That's
like
right.
wanted
That's right.
and loved,
Okay.
and you know,
Okay.
I agree. It's not that hard.
Well,
it's really
okay.
not that hard.
we thank you for this first half. We're coming back with part 2. We're men from Mars or Venus.
Either.
We're coming from different places here. We're going to get some different perspectives. Boo Chronicles. What's love got to do with it? Welcome back. We are now going to mix it up with the Martians and the folks from Venus, the men and the women. We have joining us to this illustrious panel of discussionaires, Tariq, who is 28? 27. Tariq has a master's degree in engineering. He's employed in the private industry and he lives in Virginia. We have Justin, who is 33 years old. He is a property owner. He is an MBA and he is currently in between jobs. And we have Corinne, who is 26. He has a full-time job as well as he's self-employed. He has his own videography company. Photography and videography company. So, you guys have heard what the lady said. Let me get your first reactions to just anything that you heard that raised a red flag for you.
Red flag.
Okay, Justin, you first.
I think some of the financial comments were red flags for me. Like, I mean, everybody has their preference, right? But as far as you wanted me to like pay your mortgage and pay for all your trips and do all that, I'm just not doing that.
As a husband,
As a husband or a boyfriend?
No, I feel like as a
We're talking
husband
about
or
husband.
dating, it should be more of a partnership. Like, I understand like wanting to like buy dinners or do things like that, but we're all in it together at that point. So I feel like it should be more of like a partnership instead of just like one person just basically like, I don't understand what's the reason if we're in it together, we're supposed to be saving money for, you know, together as like retirement and stuff like that. Why should I be just like paying for everything? I don't understand why that would even.
I was gonna say, I don't think it's about you necessarily paying for everything as much as it's about us being able to both afford our lifestyles together. So if you lose your job, I should be able, if I'm asking you to hold down the mortgage, I should be able to hold down the mortgage at some point if it comes to that. So I don't think it's that we're asking for someone to provide something we can't also provide, at least from my standpoint.
Right.
I would only require what I can also bring to the table. So if I'm expecting you to hold down the mortgage if something happens, or for 6 months
I get
I'm
that.
doing it, that's no problem.
Yeah,
You know?
I'm just saying, like, you know, I have a lot of friends who are in relationships, and that comes up a lot. And it's like, just to, you know, it's expensive, right? It's like, it's expensive for us too. It's like the economy's not
Yeah.
great, so it's like, I feel like it's just because it's, I don't know, I just feel like it should be more of a little bit more.
50-50?
It doesn't have to be 50-50, but it could be 70-30. It could be
Yeah.
like, but I don't think it should be 100%.
I think too, it's kind of like what works for your relationship. Like if you
Yeah,
guys
that's true,
both
too.
make the same amount,
Right.
there wouldn't be any sense for like a man to be able to be paying way more when the man and woman make the same.
I get
But for
that.
example, like if you make 220 and she makes 80, like that would be weird
No,
for
I
her
get
to be
that. I
matching you.
understand.
So I
Right.
think too is like individual couples what works for you.
Corinne?
I was just gonna say, like, anytime I talk to people, I'm just like, it has to make sense. Like, a lot of times people will kind of go back to, like, to the traditional things, so, like, what used to happen, like, back in the day. So, like, you know, their dad paid all the bills, and mom stayed home, took care of the kids and everything like that. And, like, for me, it's just like, all right, like, if we're both going out and working and coming home to a house and kids and everything else like that, what are the other responsibilities that we're sharing? Because it's just like, my dad paid all the bills. I don't have any problem with it. Like, I've already been prepared to do that. But like my point is like a lot of times when I talk to women nowadays, they'll kind of like say the same thing that y'all kind of said, but like I never hear what they would say their responsibilities or their roles would be in a marriage. And so it's like, all right, cool. If we have kids, right, and we have to, you know, pay for daycare, or we got to pay for some other way for the kids to be taken care of, it's just like, yeah, I can pay 100% of the bills, but it's just like, at what point, like, what are you gonna also provide or do for the family? Whether that be like cooking and cleaning in a traditional like housewife role, and I don't mean that with like any derogatory context, but it's just like, if that's what you're gonna do to help support the family, that's fine with me. I don't really care. I don't really care, but that's fine with me. That's like, it's fine, but it kind of just has to make sense according to how you all both want to live your life.
Okay.
So
I think that's fascinating that you said that. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, no, I mean, I pretty much agree with both of these guys here about that. Like, I feel like sometimes, not necessarily in this room, but people might want like the pros of a traditional relationship as well as the pros of like a modern relationship. It's not like there's gonna be a give and take, you know, there. So I don't think necessarily the guy should be paying for 100% of the things, but like I agree, it should make sense. Like, if you're making certainly like a lot more, then obviously you're gonna be paying for a lot more stuff. But there should be like kind of like more of a partnership type deal.
So that's interesting that you said that, because one of the things that I'm hearing a lot of you guys say is that the money is important. And then going back to one of the questions that we asked earlier about whether you're ready for forever or not, this question is a takeoff of that one. All right. Do you have an internal timeline, AG? You know, you date 2 months before you're physical. You date 6 months before you start to talk about what's next. You date 2 years before you start talking about staying or leaving or marriage. And in that conversation or in that timeline, going back to what you were saying before, when are you starting to talk about these kind of things that you're talking about with regard to who's going to pay the mortgage? Like, you know, you don't want to get 2 years into a relationship, and if mortgage paying is important to you, and he like, what? Right? You don't want to get that far down the relationship to figure that out.
Because now you're in love, you're all booed up.
All caught up.
You know, he's cute.
Yes. So when do you start to have those conversations? And does it fit into a timeline that you've already prescribed in your mind in terms of what is required for you to date you?
Yes, for the guys.
Yeah, this is for the guys.
I kind of go into that early. Like, I'll see like, just like honestly, I go into it within like the first, probably the first 3 dates, and like I kind of like look at your temperaments, because my whole thing is like, all right, we all grown, we all doing stuff, you know, have sex and everything else like that. So it's like
in 3 dates.
In 3 dates?
No, I'm not saying in 3 dates, but I'm saying like
that's what they do in 3 dates.
No, what I'm saying.
That's what he doing.
If you are dating or going out with a person, however much time you are going out, if you all are sexually active, for me, I'm always like, you have to be prepared for like that extra consequence that comes. Like, if you all both don't think that you're ready for a baby, it's just like, all right, well, like, you all both don't think you're ready for a baby. You have steps that you can take. There's contraceptives and everything else like that. If y'all choose not to use that, and you still have sexual intercourse and get, you know, you all get, like, the woman gets pregnant and everything else like that, you now then have somebody else to worry about. So it's like, at that point in time, for me, I've always been like, all right, like, if I was out here having sex with one woman, I don't really be on all that, right? And I got a woman pregnant, then I have to now sit here and say, all right, well, like, the things that I want out of, like, my life kind of now take a back seat to, like, my kid is about to be here and the woman that I'm having a child with. So it's like, you just have to be prepared for like those extra.
So you go into that first date like, listen.
After
you ordered a glass of wine. So if you get pregnant, what are we gonna do?
How about that mortgage?
Yeah.
I won't say I
won't
say I go into it with the first date. It's more so just like my mindset. Like, I understand, like, if I'm doing X, Y, Z, then I need to be prepared for a certain situation that happens.
Okay.
How about you?
Very mature.
So I'm 33, right? So if I'm dating girls who are my age, I feel like they're kind of like, you know, because they have like their biological clock too, and they kind of want to know, okay, like, if we're dating, like, they're kind of bringing out the question.
Is your biological clock? I mean, I know you don't have one, but I mean, is that the same?
No, I don't really
at
think
33, are you thinking like, oh my god, I need a wife?
No.
Like an outside person.
pressure.
Yeah, not really.
Okay.
But I feel like, yeah, like those types of conversations I feel like happen in the first like 5 dates or so. I feel like you have like a lot of those conversations about like whether do you want to get married, do you want to have kids, do you want to, that sort of thing. I feel like
Who starts them?
I feel like it just happens organically. I feel like sometimes I do, and sometimes I feel like the girl does. So.
But you guys agree that it goes both ways about who starts them? And he said 5 dates, and he said 3 dates.
I would say with the 3 dates.
Yeah,
I think it depends on the
definitely.
personality too.
Okay.
Some
I think the
people,
big thing is like intention. Like
Okay.
sometimes guys say what it is that they're looking for. I think it's just kind of after the initial, like that's a part of getting to know each other.
Yeah, I agree.
Because I think really quickly, like for me, I really want to be a mom one day, and so if I was going on any date with anyone, I feel like at this point, anyone who I'm dating someone to be intentional with them, whether it works out or not.
Okay.
And I require that, and that is something that I would like the man to lead that conversation. So since a man is leading with intention, like how you said too, if certain things just happen, it's just kind of like, but if a man said like, I know I don't want to have children, I just want us to travel or something. Like I want to be married or maybe have a life partner, but I just want to just us do our own thing, which is no problem about that. But I know me,
That's
like
a peace
it's-
out.
Yes, it's like been laid on me. I've always wanted to be a mom.
Okay.
So that's something I would figure out and be like, no.
Tariq.
There's no specific timeline per se, but I think it's just part of getting to know someone. If you've been hanging out with somebody for 4 or 5 days, at that point you probably know if they're looking to get married at some point in their life, or if they want kids or they like kids and stuff like that. As far as like mortgage and stuff goes, I feel like those conversations would probably come up more towards if you're like looking to move in together. Then you would have those types of conversations, but I mean, at that point, you probably are pretty serious. But I mean, also, I feel like, you would know your partner at that point. Like, what their stance is on, finances and things like that. You might not have had a specific conversation on like, okay, I'm gonna pay the mortgage, you pay for the car, blah, blah, blah. But I mean, you know them well enough that you'd be like, okay, like, I understand, like, she's down, sure, she wants me to pay for everything, or like, she, is more down to split certain things and things like that. It just comes with knowing your partner at that point.
Okay, I got one question. I know we're running short on time because you guys are, it's interesting stuff. And we'll stay with Tariq and then we'll go down the line. What's your idea of a good first date?
See, the way I look at it is, if I'm taking a girl on a date, I'm gonna go do something that I already wanted to do, and then she's kind of like, a companion on that date, because I don't want to like go to something and that I'm not enjoying it either. Obviously, we have similar interests and we want to do fun stuff together. So I mean, I like to eat, so I usually go with the dinner date, since I like food and drinks and stuff. So.
Okay.
I was gonna say the same thing. I'm a foodie, so I kind of like, I'll go to a restaurant and be like, oh, let's get this appetizer, let's try a whole bunch of stuff, and like, I feel like that would be a good first date for me, like food and drinks and get to know you and just like vibe and that sort of thing, like a nice restaurant. That would be good.
Know how to define nice? Is that
Just
Cheesecake
good,
Factory?
just good energy. Like maybe it has like good lighting and it's like nice drinks. Like it don't have Cheesecake Factory is fine with me. Like I don't mind that.
So do you have a dollar amount that you won't spend over or that you will spend over on a first date?
No, but I feel like if I'm taking you out on a date and you get like the tomahawk steak or something that's like super expensive, I'm gonna be looking at you like, come on, like like why are you doing that?
What's your last name, right?
Yeah, right.
Okay.
For me, I kind of like take a look at who I'm going on a date with. Like if you run track, right, or if you're athletic, I'm probably gonna do something that's like a little bit athletic. You know what I mean? Like you can go bowling, you can go. They have like rock climbing walls and stuff like that. I've done first dates where I've done something as simple as like paint pours, which is like y'all both just sitting down painting and stuff like that. So like for me, it just kind of depends on like who I'm dating. Cause it's like for that first date, I really want a chance to sit down and like actually be able to talk to you. Like I don't want it to be like a movie where we're just both sitting together but we're not talking. Like I can't figure you out. I can't kind of like assess whether I would even want to go on a second date with you. because it's like we're not talking. Like I don't know anything about you. So for me, it kind of like depends on like who I'm going on a date with, and I kind of just like tailor it to that or tailor it to them.
So ladies, is there a question that you want to know about guys that you never asked? These are guys that you may never see again. So they're relatively innocent, you know, it's good that you want to ask a guy about just dating
I have a
relationships.
Follow-up question to that. So like more recently in my dating life, I have been like, if a guy asks me on a date, like a dinner date, I would say no and I would do something more like quick, like a coffee or a lunch. How does that come across to men?
That's fine.
That's funny you say that because I actually had a similar conversation with somebody this week, and he said he always takes girls out on like a coffee date or something. I think it's more so just to like break the ice, so that like it's not like, oh, I'm buying you like this fancy dinner. We're like literally just like getting to know each other. So I'm cool with that. I mean, it's less expensive too.
Yeah, exactly. That's a green flag.
Yeah, right.
It's a green flag.
It's a green flag. It's a green flag. Yeah. Like, okay, cool.
Not that you not necessarily have to do that, but I think, you know, it's like you you actually like really want to get to know me. You're not just, you know, necessarily here for the experience and stuff. Like, so, I mean, it's like
Anybody else?
Same thing.
Yeah, for me, I don't like it. Kind of goes into what I was like talking about. Like if it's a coffee date, we can actually sit down and we can talk, and like I can figure you out, you can figure me out, and stuff like that. I'll say like I'm not necessarily like worried about going on first dates and like not going on a second date and spending money. Like we go out to a restaurant and I pay for you as I should. Like I'm not really worried about like if I don't get a second date, I'm not like dang, I'm wasting my money. Cause it's just like I'm not dating, like when I wasn't financially like stable, I wasn't really dating. I was just like, I'm not doing that. I kind of like,
So you only doing
gonna
it
ask
for
me for
scam.
something, I'm gonna say, nah, I can't do it. Like it just doesn't make me feel good as a person. So it's just like when I wasn't financially set, like I wasn't dating. I tell people straight up, like I'm like, look, I'm not really ready to date right now, blah, 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 blah. And like kind of like put it in their floor. Like I don't got time to lie to people, and like you always checking up on me and stuff like that. Like you always trying to like check what I'm saying. So I'm just like, I lay everything on the table and tell you what I'm looking for. And if you're not looking for that, all right, cool. We can be friends and not do anything else after that. But it's just like if we're not meeting each other where we want initially, it's just like you can either decide whether that's somebody that you really, really want and y'all want to like try to still get together and like figure it out. Or if y'all not meeting each other like initially, you just go your separate ways and be friends and be cordial.
So, do you guys have a question that you've always wanted to ask of women? You got 7 here that maybe you will never see again, but you can get your question answered without any, blowback. Except for the millions of people on the internet.
Right.
I mean, you kind of answered or asked it earlier, but I feel like kind of danced around the answer. But like, as far as like a dollar amount is someone that you would accept as far as dating goes, obviously 50K is off the table. So it's higher than that, I'm assuming. So like, or like a range or something like that.
It's money wide over here.
I'll say it.
Go ahead, Karen.
I'll say it. I think, it doesn't even need to be like necessarily one job. Some people have Airbnbs, some people have other things they do outside of their traditional role. But I think in maybe like for what I would like to see for a potential husband would be maybe like 175 plus.
So if a guy doesn't, that you, let's say Tariq, since I'm sitting here looking at him, walked up to you and said, hey, let's go to have coffee. If he doesn't make 175, you're not interested in the date?
No, that's not true, and I also don't do coffee dates. If I'm getting respectfully to me, like if you're happy, I also don't do drinks. Like let's just go get drinks.
Oh, no.
No, I don't do that. If you're gonna ask me out, you're going to take me on a proper date. Especially if it's gonna take me like as long as it takes me to get ready. If I'm gonna get dressed, do my makeup, put on an outfit, like
dates when I get dressed. You can go quick, have a coffee.
I don't drink coffee, but you know what I mean? Even if like you don't end up liking the person, you can still have a good time. It could end up a friend.
That's
it could end up,
the
you know what I
difference
mean?
between you guys.
It's
Like,
just
Kayla's like, I don't want to continue if I don't like you, and you're like, it's just still a good time. Like,
It's still a good time. They might be a good vibe. They could.
So
be
you're on a
friend.
mission then. Your dates are mission oriented.
No, they're not
mission oriented. I will go on a date. I'm not asking anybody their dollar amount, but like based on the conversation we have, and you might not even make that in the beginning, but hey, like, I'm looking to start this business, or this is my goal for the future, or this is what I'm getting into. Like he's getting there because I know that the lifestyle I want to have is going to require probably more than that. But I have to see that you're going to at least get there. But I'm also like I'm gonna be making money myself. But that's what I would say for me to be like, not for dating, but for like marriage.
So there's no dating dollar amount requirement.
Well, yeah. I think it's not a dollar amount. It's like, okay, like how are you treating me? Where are you taking me? What is the vibe? Like how a man treats you, how a man approaches you. To me, if a guy's like just approaching me like, hey, let's go get drinks. Okay, so you want to get me drunk? Like, well, you know what I mean? Versus taking me to dinner, like and sitting down and having a conversation with me, or like even like, hey, like the first day, do you want to come out to the club? Me and my friends have a section. I might go for fun, maybe back in 2020, but I'm not taking you seriously because you want to just party with me. Like, you just want to have fun. You're not really trying to get to know me. But there's not like a dollar amount. It's a vibe. It's what kind of date you're taking me on. But I'm not going on a drink date, and I'm not going on a coffee date.
I want to piggyback off of what she was saying because one thing that I noticed when you were talking about dates with them, I noticed they were talking about they're down for like whatever they are with, so like they're foodies or they want to go to like they like eating, so they'll take a girl out to dinner. And then he was saying like it's tailored to the woman or whoever he's after. So I think that's a big thing for us because we like notice effort. Like if I like to work out and you're a foodie, but you know I like to work out and you plan a day for us to like go to a park or go to a Pilates studio or go to somewhere like that. That's gonna like woo! Like as females, we're gonna be like, oh yeah, 10 out of 10. Like,
but it wasn't that expensive.
It may not have been that expensive, but it's like, oh wow, like he looked at what I like and you know, now first date check, and a lot of times women.
So obviously, this is a really, really robust conversation that must come to an end.
Well, we need to do this again with like much more time.
Absolutely.
But I just have raise your hands. One question: you're talking about the guys taking you out. How many of you, raise your hands, would see a guy and invite him out?
I'm putting my hands underneath my arm.
And would you pay when you do?
It depends on where we're going. What we doing?
No, I just.
There's a lot of things you can invite to a guy. You can invite somebody I'm interested, and you can invite somebody out.
Okay. I would love
Let's continue it at some point.
We're gonna have to.
You can invite people to stuff, and it's not always about the money. Like I can be into a guy, and I invite them to my church event. That's free. And I want to see.
All right, guys.
As we see here.
Thank you so much.
I want to see you like resurrection time.
As we see here on Boo Chronicles, what's love got to do with it?
A lot.
And
You heard it here first.
Men and women have a lot to say. We could go on and on for hours, but we don't have that much time. I want to thank all of you guys for coming and being a part of this, and hopefully it's provided some insight, maybe some humor, maybe some, what the hell?
Tune in next time, Boo Chronicles.